Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I've spent the last 2+ decades of my life. You know, I'm currently in the shoe, and I'm gonna be here for a minute. You know, like I told you, I spent half my time in the last 24 years locked up in solitary confinement. But it's not really solitary confinement because I'm not by myself. I'd rather be by myself when I'm in the shoe, but for the most part, I always have a cellie. You know, sitting there with a cellie 24 hours a day in and day out, week in and week out, for months at a time, it wears down on your nerves. I don't care if he's your best friend, homies from the street or whatever. It's just hard to share a space like that, you know, 8x12 cell for fucking 6 months with another dude. But for the most part, I've been fortunate that I've always had decent cellies and that we've always been able to work around each other's schedule. Because, you know, for me, no matter if I'm in lockdown in the shoe, if I'm in a smooth program, or if I'm on a compound, my sleep schedule is the same. I'm up at 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I go to sleep at around 10 o'clock. So I always make sure that my programs stay consistent because, you know, in the beginning of my bid, I would sleep in the shoe or whatever. Then when I get on the compound, my sleeping pattern would be all fucked up. And I learned really fast that if your sleeping pattern is fucked up, that could be a hazard to your health. So I always make sure that my program always stays the same. I'm going out to rec every chance I get to go to rec, I go out to rec. So for the most part, I make it to rec every day. And when I got out of rec, I'm in the rec cage, and in USP Florence, there's probably 10 rec cages, like 7 this way, and then 3 coming back around towards the end. You know, rec is where you get all your information, all the news, especially when you're on a compound like this. Like in the smooth program, the whole prison was locked down, so there wasn't nothing going on. But in Florence, you know, you'll be able to hear the news from the streets. People are always constantly coming in and out of the shoe, so people are smuggling drugs back, whatever it is that's going on in the compound, you get it in the shoe too, except the price is like twice as expensive in the shoe as it is on the compound. Sometimes it's reversed, just depending on whoever's got the sack, right? So on my tier, there was this dude from Memphis. I forgot his name. I want to say Big Mike, but I could be wrong. He was the dude with the sack. He had the Tucci. So there's always a lot of traffic in our block. When we go out to rec, there's traffic from people coming in from the other tiers, you know, past the wire homes. You know, people got their little package and sending it through the bar, through the gate. And yeah, we always figure out how to get what we want to get. But back to my story, when I go out to the rec cage, I see practically my whole bus in the shoe. Like everybody that I came off the bus with, all of them was in, like, there's about 20 people that came off the bus with me. And about 6 or 7 of them off the bat already checked in, never hit the compound because for whatever reason, they knew they couldn't walk this yard. So the people that came out actually hit the yard with us, there's only like 12 or 13 of us. And the 3 weeks I was on the compound, within the first week, 3 or 4 of them got knocked off already. So before I got knocked off the yard, there was like 6 or 7 of us left. So now 3 weeks into me being in the shoe, I come out to the rec cage, and everybody else but 2 people, everybody else but 4 people. There was the 2 Norteños, Hennessy, and damn, what the hell was his name? I just told a story about him the other day. In June, they were still on the compound. a black dude, he was Muslim, and a white dude, they were still on the compound. The rest of us that came off the bus, like I said, 6 or 7 of them never even came out to the yard, but the rest of us is in the shoe. There's a couple black dudes, a couple white dudes. I don't remember their name, but we're like, damn, what the fuck? And like, shit. And all of them got into altercation, you know. But there was this one dude in there, his name was L from Atwater. Now, when he was in Atwater, he was already doing some foul shit. But he was in Atwater the whole time I was there. So I don't know the kind of rapport that he had with his homies from the Bay, but nothing ever happened to him. And one of the incidents that involved him was, we're in Atwater. The homie Jordan, he runs a dice game. He lives in our block. He's outside on the weekend. It was a Sunday. In Atwater, the yard is split up. West side, east side on the weekends. So on Sunday, it's just our side, the east side. And they're out there shooting dice or whatever. So at recall, at 8:30, they come back in. And Jordan's like, man, you don't even believe what happened. So what happened? So they're out there shooting dice, and two compound COs came into the yard. They know they can't be shooting dice, so everybody tucks all their stabs, put up the dice and everything. Well, the CO comes and hems up L, takes him back and strip search him. Now, L is always known to always have the sack. He's always got weed or dope. He's always selling something. He's hustling on the yard all the time. So they take him into the back, strip search him. When they're done strip searching him, they bring him back to the compound. They walk, the two COs are escorting L back to the crap game. And L is telling him, like, hey man, let me get the dice. He's telling Jordan. And Jordan's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He goes, man, just let me get the dice. The COs are standing behind him. So Jordan is not knowing, but he's like, man, I ain't got no fucking dice or whatever. He goes, man, just give it to me. He goes, or he's gonna strip, or they're gonna strip everybody down and take all of our stuff or whatever. So the dice is behind the bathroom or whatever, where they put it up, because they know these guys are gonna get stripped out, and they don't want the dice to be, caught on them. Well, anyway, L takes dice, gets the dice, because I guess he knew where it was at, and gave it to the CO. And the CO left, didn't strip the rest of these guys out or whatever. So Jordan comes back and tells that story. Like, for me, I don't really sit around and contemplate my actions or the things that I'm going to do or whatever. Like, I operate more on a subconscious level. So the next day we go into the kitchen, and one of the Bay Area dude calls me over to the table. And I think he's one, he kind of had the yard for the Bay Area. He's like, hey man, I say, what's up? He goes, hey, we still got these chips. L still had about 20 books worth of dice chips that he didn't cash back out because they got raided, because the COs walked in on him. He said, hey, this is from L. L's sitting there next to him. I said, what's these? He said, these are the chips from last night. I said, what are you giving them to me for? He's like, man, the homie's trying to cash that out. I said, which homie? I know he's talking about L, because L's sitting right there. So L's trying to cash that out. I said, L ain't getting paid for that. He said, what do you mean L ain't getting paid for that? I said, you didn't know what your homeboy did right here? This fool went and grabbed the fucking dice and gave it to the police. The way I look at it, that motherfucker ain't got nothing coming. He said, what you mean the homie ain't got nothing coming? The Bay Area dude. I said, your homeboy's a fucking rat. He said, man, who the fuck are you? He jumped up. He jumped up on the table. All the Bay Area dudes got up, and all my homeboys got up. Boom, we all got up. We went in a little standoff. So, it's me and the Bay Area dude having an exchange. Like, homie, your homie you ain't gave the fucking dice to the police. I'm not paying that. We're not paying that. So, we said, what, you just gonna dictate how, You know, and he was going on about how you guys just think you're gonna dictate our politics. You know what? You're gonna enforce what other people. I was like, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm just telling you he ain't getting his money because he ain't got nothing coming. And while we're in the exchange, the lieutenant and a couple of COs seen the altercation and they came and snatched me up, snatched the homie, because at the time when I was in a conversation with the Bay Area dude, the homie Easy came up, pulled up on me while all the Bay Area is standing up surrounding me, but the homies in the kitchen, they all stood up, so you know, we're on like a little standoff. So they come and lock me up, me and Easy, and take us into the holding tank. And they did whatever they did over there, talked to whoever, everybody said there was no issue, no problem. Me and Easy was in the holding tank for like 3 hours or whatever. Then they put us back on the compound. And nothing became of that, but we have a lot of homies that are from the Bay. A lot of Polys, a lot of Tongans and Samoans in Atwater come from the Bay. And they fuck with them Bay dudes tough. Them black dudes from the Bay, they fuck with them tough. And he was one of the dudes that the homie fucked with real tough. But after that incident, we just shined him, you know, because we just left it alone. We politicked it amongst ourselves about how far we want to take it or whatever, and we decided to leave it alone. Well, anyway, when I catch the plane going to Florence, USP, he's on the bus with me, the dude L. So, and we hit the compound together. So I guess after I got jumped on, I was there for 3 weeks, I got jumped on. 2 days later, I forgot these two youngsters from the Bay. They was in one of them was in Atwater with me, cool as shit. Nut though, cold-blooded nut. He ended up in the Smooth with me. From Atwater, we went to the Smooth together. Then he was already in Florence when I got there. And then, of course, he didn't last too long and ended up going back to the Smooth. But him and his cousin jumped on L and punished him because it came out that he was hot. He was fucked up. You know, when I first went to Lompoc, USP Lompoc, everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. The whites, the natives, the blacks, the Mexican, the Muslims. Everybody checked paperwork and were punishing people that was fucked up. But after I've been in the system for about 10 years, you know, when it got around to about 2013, a little bit over, 13 years, 12 years, the mentality kind of downgraded a little bit. Like the people that I used to associate with, the Bloods, the Crips, the Bay, all these other different groups, they weren't really pushing the line as hard as they used to, as hard as I expect them to. So towards the end of my bid, I kind of not really associate myself with the normal people that I used to. Like, if I knew them from before, yeah, we were homies and we were friends, nothing changed. But the new ones that were coming in the system, I kind of just, kept them at an arm's length because I know their mentality isn't all the way 100 the way my generations and the generations before me carried it. But when you get off the bus, when I got to Beaumont, there was like 20 people that came off the bus with me. And by the time I left Beaumont, there was only 4 people out of the 20 that came off the bus with me that was still on that compound. And we used to always clown about it like that. When we come off the bus, when I get transferred, I look at everybody and we always, whoever I'm talking to on the bus, or if I knew somebody, we're like, man, how long is it gonna be before all these dudes get run off? And how many's gonna be left after a year here? And we used to joke about it. And now I'm sitting in the shoe and I'm one of them motherfuckers that got beat off the yard. Welcome to the USP.